Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is subscriber submitted, sent in by my subscriber Phil Stern. Phil had this encounter in July last year, and I know it's very fresh in his memory still. Some of you guys and girls may have heard of this encounter through Vic Cundiff's show last week featuring Josh Turner. Huge respect to both those guys. As you already know, I'm a huge fan of Vic Cundiff's show and also Josh Turner's work. Thank you ever so much for bringing this to attention, guys. Phil actually contacted me just before that show went out, a few days beforehand, saying that he'd like me to narrate the story, which of course I feel very honoured to do so. Really interesting encounter here, people. I'm sure you will agree. It's actually my first encounter on international waters, not an encounter that took place on US soil or British soil. This actually took place over in Norway, so quite a rare find there, I think, guys, and I'm very intrigued to see what more I can dig up about the folklore of Norway in regards to possible lichens or Dogman type creatures. Of course, please do let me know what you think down below. Please do like and share. Without further ado, let's get into tonight's story, entitled The Cabin by the Lake. Let's get straight into that. Hey DMT, I'm going to give you the info on my encounter in July of last year. I went up to Southern Norway, where I have a little holiday cabin. The cabin is situated out and above the little town of Evje, approximately 65 kilometers from the port of Kristiansand to the north. To get to the cabin, you have to drive up from Evje on a paved road which takes you up and into the hills. You pass lakes on the way and a handful of houses, and lots of forest and water runs through. My cabin is on the very end of that area, approximately 16 kilometers into the wild, besides one other cabin that is situated 500 meters away and only occupied from time to time. I am all by myself out there. My cabin is above a small lake resting on a slope. On the third day of my arrival, I went outside of the cabin's deck to have a cigarette. It was about 10 p.m. and still very light outside, because in the summer months the sun never really goes down. Just then I heard noises, water splashing and grunts coming from the lake below. The shore is a good 30 meters from the deck to the cabin. As I walked up to the edge of the deck to see what it was, because it was really freaking me out, that's when I looked down to the shore. I saw a hunched over, hairy creature. It was trying to pull a dead moose onto the shore by the neck. The thing turned around and has apparently noticed me standing there looking at it. It had swung its head around violently, giving me a grim kind of look, turned its head back to me, and it was casually running away into the bushes. The creature was about man size, 180 centimeters or so. Weight, well, I would guess at no more than 250 pounds. Had a protruding snout like a wolf's, upright ears, not too big, and it was covered in a tuft like black and brown hair. Arms and legs were normal size. Legs, though, were straight, and the overall appearance was pretty slim-bodied. I immediately went back inside the cabin, panicked, and locked and barricaded the back door and back windows. I went for an axe that I keep in a utility room by the front door, sat down in a chair by the back door. Lights off. Only the oven and fireplace was lit. I could not believe and make out what it was, and I freaked even more, realizing that far down south in Norway there are basically no wolves nor bears. 10 minutes in, I heard the most radical howls I have ever come by. They sounded mad, I mean crazed in a way. I did not even try to get to the car, which, I might add, was right out front, close to the main entrance of the cabin. I was petrified and could not shut one eye the whole night. The howls and the commotion outside in the bushes went on pretty much all night long. Next day, I carefully left the cabin and went for my car to head into town. Problem is, I have no internet or any connection out there. I went straight to the police station to file a report on what I saw. The officials told me it must have been a big dog trying to put me off. They did not laugh, as I had expected. They did not look me in the eyes either, and started talking to each other in Norwegian. They looked each other in the eyes, however, seeming to be a bit nervous. I was complimented outside because I was getting pissed at being put off like that. I received no copy of the report or anything at all. The last few days of my stay, nothing else happened except that the carcass of the moose was picked up by someone or something. Nothing left at the scene. I checked with the local and asked him if there were any bears or wolves that far south, just to confirm what I already knew. Of course, he replied, no. Besides all that, I forgot to mention that the creature casually went off running on 2 legs. To this day, even though it has gotten better, I feel paranoid, even around familiar places like my house, yard, and whatnot. Only in these groups have I found a little peace, and listening of course to Vic's show, which I found out about when I was researching online after my encounter. Back before all of this happened, I was the type of person that would, laugh at the thought of these cryptids and whatnot. I was totally thrown off the plate, thinking that I'm going mad, to question my sanity, and to this day, I have a hard time believing any of it myself. Honestly, I don't want to. Regards, Phil. Wow. My God, thank you, Phil, for contacting me and trusting me to tell your story. Absolute honoured. Wow, what an encounter, guys. Very, very interesting encounter. I find it interesting because of the couple of factors, really. You notice in the story, Phil mentions the fact that the legs were indeed straight, not bent backwards in a dog sort of formation that we regularly hear, which really does intrigue me. The body makeup of that animal to have straight legs like a human and stand bipedally is obviously going to be incredibly different to the canine type. Also, the fact that it wasn't your sort of general Dogman encounter where they're enormous, sort of 9 foot tall, 400-500 pound plus. Seemed it could be maybe a juvenile, hence why Phil actually spotted it in the first place. I'd love to know what you guys think. Speaking with Phil, as he said in the story, he does, Phil finds some solace in the groups that we speak on, in our private groups in Facebook, and speaking with others and people that research these things and giving him a bit more knowledge, a bit more certainty into what he saw and how to deal with that. And I've spoke with Phil in the last few days and asked him, has the nightmares been a problem? Is it still an issue for you? Thank God Phil, replied saying it's getting better. At first it was, but every day is a new day. So I couldn't be happier. I'm really happy that Phil's moving past this time and focusing on just finding out the truth, as I'm sure any normal rational human being would when they see something this, unnatural almost. You'd want answers. I know I certainly would. So please do like and share. Please do comment. And above all, guys, when you're out there on the misty moors, remember, be safe, not sorry.